All right. Welcome, everyone, to the weekly coaching call. My name is Omar Pinto. Welcome. With my co-host, Tori Skeen. What's up, Tori? All right. And today, we're going to kick off our coaching call. We're going to pick up where we left off last week. Was it Shannon that we picked up? We were talking, it was you we were talking to, right? Last week? It was a lot, right, Shannon?
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Okay. I remember. Okay. So remind me where we left off.
I don't really know. We were kind of just going over like I'm struggling trying to find like peace and happiness and sobriety and
Remember that?
um oh yeah.
Dad stuff.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Tori.
Tori.
Wasn't trying to beat around that bush or anything. Thanks.
Okay. So, okay, now I remember because it's getting fresher, right? It's coming around. So, specifically, what was going on with your dad?
Well, he passed away when I was 11. And just the guilt and like regret from it was really sudden. And after he had passed away, I learned a lot about like my mom being like really controlling that situation to where I wasn't really allowed to see him, and she would make me believe that I was allowed to see him and that it was his fault, that he wasn't kind of those kinds of situations. And then like learning after he died that it was pretty much all her. It was pretty painful.
Okay, so this is an unresolved wound.
Yeah.
And I think, did I ask you if your dad was here, what would you tell him?
Yeah.
And what was it that you said?
I'm just sorry for all his pain that he went through.
Okay, so we ended on pretty much that piece right there.
Yeah.
And so you've had a week to kind of process everything that we discussed on that call. And what has come up for you this week?
I've been really uncomfortable. And just like sitting with feelings that I just didn't want to have to feel, kind of situations. It made me sad. And just like we spoke a little bit about the first time I drank, and I had really repressed that.
Mm-hmm.
So talking about that really just made me have to feel things and stuff, pretty much.
So now I'm back. Okay. Took a minute, but now I'm back, and I'm thinking about that because I remember you talked about the first time you drank and it was terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, like a lot of bad shit happened.
Yeah.
Okay, on that first time, yet still today you're ruminating about drinking.
Yeah.
So ultimately what it was my question was, what were you trying to soothe?
Right. Yeah.
That's how we ended up here. So now I'm back. I know where we're at. So this is an unresolved wound. This is something that's why I asked you, what would you tell your dad now? Because even though that's what you would tell him now, there's no physical way for you to actually make amends.
Right.
Right? Is there a part of you that feels like you need to make amends, want to make amends? Tell me.
I just my biggest thing is I'm just like I just hurt for it like him. Like I was sad that I mean he tried really hard to get it right, but he just never could quite. Like everything he tried to do would fail, kind of like. But he had a good heart and he meant well, and I feel sad for that, and I feel sad that I didn't have him as a bigger part of my life when I could have. I let my mom manipulate that situation. I feel a little guilty, but I just mostly feel sad that his life was really lonely, and that's kind of on. I mean, it's not. I mean, it wasn't my fault, but it was my doing. Like I was the problem.
Do you feel, or do you believe that maybe the only reason you drink or want to drink is to numb out these feelings?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Because I'm feeling them all this week, and it's really uncomfortable, and it's made me more irritable.
okay. So let's immediately try to spin this into the positive. So what could that mean about you?
Like that I drink because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I care.
What else? I like the way this is going. I care.
Um,
What else?
I not a monster. Like I have feelings, and I have that love for somebody.
We're going in the right direction. What else?
Um, I don't know. You stumped me.
No, that's okay. I like to empty the well.
Yeah.
Uh, could it mean that you're not an alcoholic?
Maybe.
Hmm. Like I want to shed as much positive light here
I don't think
as
my husband
possible.
agrees with you, but
So we carry you Shannon, you carry too much already. Okay. You carry too much. And when I say that, I'm being a little broad, but do you understand what I mean by that?
yeah.
What do I mean by that?
I need to kind of just let some of it go. That it's not, there's too much heavy on there to be able to grow.
Excellent. Excellent. I have this incredible burden that I carry. Okay. One of the big burdens that I carry is this huge guilt that I feel. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so, what would my life be like if I no longer was carrying that guilt?
I think I'd self-sabotage myself a lot less. I mean, I would enjoy being happy.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I would. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you make that statement, what does that mean to you?
Like anytime I do get in a happy place, I just immediately feel bad about it and immediately feel like I shouldn't have those feelings.
Are you familiar with Brene Brown?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the term foreboding joy?
Uh,
Okay, so immediately, okay, I'm writing this down. This is what you need to be writing down. Foreboding joy. Hey, do me a favor, Tori. Can you type in the notes there? Foreboding. I don't even know how to spell that, so you're gonna have to Google that. Foreboding joy. Okay. Ultimately, when I say that to you, what do you understand about what I just said?
Foreboding, just like resisting happiness, like
For what reason?
guilt.
Let's go further.
Mm,
Go a little deeper.
Mm, Not feeling like like I'm worthy of happiness.
Not, not feeling worthy or deserving, maybe?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Um, because people I love aren't here to feel that way.
Okay. So what it does is, what foreboding joy allows you to do is protect yourself. So when you start to feel joy, when you start to move towards joy, what are the feelings that come? What are the feelings that follow as you get closer to joy? You start to feel happiness.
I get irritable and uncomfortable and I guess angry.
Angry for what reason?
Just that I feel like I shouldn't feel that way. Like, how can I do that when you've caused pain or the things I've done caused pain?
Okay. So I want you to, for a moment, I want you to imagine that what is your daughter's favorite activity or favorite thing to eat? Like, what brings her tremendous joy?
Well, my son is the older one. Um, hmm, Being outside.
Being outside.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I want you to picture him outside, right? I want you to picture him. So what's he doing right now?
Running laps around our house.
And what's the look on his face?
Very happy.
Very happy. Okay. Now, does he look in any way, shape, or form like there you go. All right.
Good job.
Now, just by looking at someone who's very comfortable in only his underwear. All right. Just think about how incredibly empowering it would be for us to be able to be on camera in our underwear, smiling gregariously. All right. Is there anything about your son that you would say is a representation of him foreboding joy?
No.
No, no, no. So I want you to imagine for just one moment that he's running outside.
You're back here. Huh? You gotta sit down. Right here. No, you can't. Coffee. Oh my gosh. Okay.
This is like a totally appropriate moment. Like, this is like, I could have choreographed this better. Hey, buddy.
Say hi, Omar.
Hello.
You don't know what to do because you're allowed on here now.
All right. Okay. So now I want you to imagine that he's outside playing, having the time of his life. And all of a sudden you look at him and he's sad. And you say, honey, why are you sad? And he says to you, Mom, I'm sad because you're sad. What would you tell him?
I wouldn't like it. Yeah.
What would that feel like?
It would hurt me. It would make me sad.
Mm-hmm. It would hurt and make you sad. What else?
I feel guilty that I'm projecting any sort of feelings onto him.
I'd feel more guilt. Feel guilty for projecting. Look, I love that. Projecting my feelings onto him. Anything else?
No.
So you've got him right there, Shannon. He's in that, you see, he's in that moment. You're hurt, you're sad, you feel guilty for projecting your feelings onto him. What do you tell him?
I'll probably just tell him that I'm okay and that he didn't need to worry about my feelings.
Anything else?
I love him.
If your dad was here right now, what do you think he'd tell you?
Same thing.
Is there any reason to believe that he would say or do anything differently?
No, and I'm pretty confident in that just because he had my whole life to tell me the things that my mom did to him, and he never did. He let me believe he was the bad guy.
So do you think maybe that if he was looking at you and how you're doing right now, then maybe he'd be a little hurt and a little sad
Yeah,
and probably maybe feeling a little guilty?
yeah.
So maybe he's projecting onto you. Or maybe you're just projecting from your own projections. But ultimately, if you were to guess, what would be the way to heal?
I don't know. That's where I'm always stuck, is I don't know. I get overwhelmed by my feelings.
So let's use a word. Let's pick an empowering word. And what's the word that's coming to my mind right now is honor.
Really?
And how would you like to honor your dad's memory?
Should probably tell my kids about him more.
How does that feel?
Good and overwhelming.
For what reason?
I just miss him.
And what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
And does it help to miss him?
I think so. I mean, feeling like he's still a part of me.
Yes. Correct. He's still a part of you. And if he's a part of you now, then
I'm so sorry. Tori distracted me. What was that last line?
oh, if he's a part of you now, then what does that mean potentially?
That he's still here, that he's still a part of our life.
And it'll always be a part of your life. And the best way to honor him is to talk to your kids about him and keep him alive. Keep his memory alive through them. And it's going to help you feel the feels. Okay. It's going to allow you to miss him and love him and remember him. And what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
So now tell me about your alcohol cravings.
When I get agitated or overwhelmed, or when both our kids are crying, or it's the things that I just want to make go away.
And is the alcohol going to make those things go away?
No.
No. What's the alcohol going to do?
Make it worse.
Make it worse. Make it worse. So, knowing what you know now, what could you do differently?
I think I need to slow down. Like I get real agitated really fast when things don't go the way I want them. I'm really quick to anger.
And have you ever identified why that's your go-to emotion?
I think that when I'm angry, people tend to leave me alone that way. Nobody really wants to help you when you're mad. Mean.
And what would that mean for you to be alone?
I like to be alone, and nobody can disappoint me that way.
No one can disappoint me. So, based on what we've discovered so far, what would you say this anger and frustration and overwhelm is really here to protect you from?
I think a lot of it is my mom and the pain that I've gotten from that too, that I have just been repeatedly disappointed and embarrassed by. And if she could do that to me, anybody could.
And we get back down to being disappointed and let down and hurt. So it's your way of setting boundaries.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you again. Based on what you know now, what could you do differently?
Maybe like verbalize the way I'm feeling instead of just snapping off.
Effective communication. And so, how does your husband play a role in your effective communication or the potential thereof?
I think you might enjoy it. He is probably the brunt of my wrath, which makes me really sad.
So, what do you want to tell him?
Probably I'm sorry. I'm gonna make it better, be better.
All you have to do is believe. All you have to do is believe that you can, and you will. All right. So, am I missing anything?
Yeah.
It feels like you're a little down.
I am just like overwhelmed.
With?
Well, my question was not related to anything that we brought up, but it did at the same time. So I wasn't like prepared to get that intense. And I just feel like I wasted a lot of like time being mad and angry and hurt and all those things when I could have been enjoying my wedding day or when my kids were born and those kinds of things. And I said, yeah, that's great, but I'm missing this and this and this.
So, I was introduced to a very interesting Chinese proverb recently. And let me find it because I think it's very appropriate right now. So, a very famous Chinese proverb says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. So I can either ruminate about the trees that I have been planting, or I can plant a tree right now today. So if you wanted to plant a tree right now, what kind of tree would you plant?
Yeah, I just need to let go a little bit.
I would suggest a forgiveness tree. All right. It's got lots of branches. Okay. And one of the things that you can start with is just forgiving yourself for believing the things that you believed about your father that weren't true. Because I think that's the toughest thing you're having a tough time forgiving yourself about more than anything else, is just believing what you were taught. It's not your fault. And if your father was here right now, he would be sad because you're in so much pain. And he'd say, don't let my feelings project onto you. All right. Is there anything else? Well, let's go back to the original question. What was the original question?
So how do I, find that happiness in recovery that I've just been so flat.
Beautiful. Okay. So now that we've gone through this journey and this exercise together, how do you think you can get closer to happiness in your recovery?
Yeah, I think just learning to enjoy things instead of turning them into a negative, and taking in that, like, forgiving myself, and just really embracing my struggles that I've had instead of trying to avoid them.
So the foreboding joy, and as we brought that to your attention, and you recognize now that as you get closer to joy, you also get closer to feeling guilty for feeling happy and for being joy, because who am I to be happy and have joy when all of these things have happened in my past? Is that still true?
No.
Good. All right. So now the only thing that's required is some action. Okay. So you're going to have, my suggestion for you would be thank you, Siri. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
She's a lively one, that one. She probably just showed up so that we could bring a little joy.
There you go.
It's the little things.
Yeah.
And right now, as you hold your son who's asleep in your arms right now, how do you feel?
Content. Peaceful.
Let's roll with that for right now. Let's make that the goal. For right now, let's just focus on being peaceful and content, right? And sharing your truth. More people could very much benefit from your story, Shannon.
Yeah. Sorry I took up so much of everyone's time.
What are you talking about? We're only half an hour in.
Yeah, I overlapped.
Oh, that's fine. Now you're deflecting. Stop looking at me.
No.
All right. So let's see here. There's some direct messages on here. Let me see here. There's a private one that came in. Maybe she blames herself about the relationship with her dad, even though she found out probably after he died, that mom was the one holding her back, which you already know,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Foreboding joy is a dress rehearsal for tragedy. It's preparing for the worst, even when things are at their best. It's an excellent description. It's a perfect segue to self-sabotage. One of my inventories that freed me the most was my mother. I started it off with, "I'm sorry for hating you." That was from Leo. Powerful. Referencing the Lion King, he lives in you. Mufasa. Look how calm your son is. Thank you, Leo. I was right there. Beautiful. Right. And oh, I would like to share something. Dawn. Yes. Jump in.
Okay. Hi, everybody. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Dawn.
Shannon, I just wanted to share something with you. I've been trying recovery. I was one of those chronic relapsers. You know, for many years, I went to every type of inpatient, outpatient, whatever treatment there was, 12-step groups, recovery groups, prisons, jails, some very traumatic situations. And I ended up very, very suicidal through my life because I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it. I would start to get it and then I would lose it every single time. And I went to, I was put away for a little while. And at that time, I was thinking about this, you know, and I prayed about it. And because somebody had suggested to write down everything that I've ever done to people, you know, and I got to thinking about it. And it was the reason I couldn't get it was because every time I got it, I did some pretty traumatic things to some people and it affected their whole lives. And I always innerly felt as though if I were, how dare I be happy? You know, and I did this, and this until through their lives. And that's what the underlying, I mean, there was a whole lot of other things, but that was the underlining thing underneath why I couldn't make it work. So anyway, what I had done is I wrote down every single bad thing I had done to anybody. I mean, I had a few pages of it, you know, and I prayed about it before that to my higher power. And when I was done with that list, it occurred to me, I mean, I think it was my higher power, but whatever, that every single thing on that list, everything, I would not have done if I wasn't drinking and using or addicted. You know, so I finally saw myself that I wasn't a bad person. I was a really good person. I was just covered up with all of this garbage of guilt and shame and punishment, you know. And from that point on, that was 3 years ago, I had really good solid recovery. And that took like 20, 30 years. And I was also, I started really wanting this for myself. I started wanting to treat that little girl that had been in so much pain all her life. I wanted to love her. I wanted to take care of her. So I wrote down a list of all the things I thought would make me feel good, you know, and then I just picked from those things because, you know, I kind of knew what to do. But I just wanted to share that with you. And I really hope that you can get to that point because it's amazing. It just changes you completely. That's all.
Beautiful, Dawn. That was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
So Dawn actually gave me some good ideas there. So my thought would be, what about writing a letter to Dad? Dear Dad. Have you already done one?
No, because it makes me
Okay.
uncomfortable.
What's that?
Because it would make me uncomfortable.
Good, good. This should provoke lots and lots of tears. lots and lots and lots and lots of tears. Okay. And what does the tears do? The tears are the vehicle that help remove the toxic shame. That's all it does. It's cleansing, it's healing. That's what these tears do. That's why they're available to us, is so that we can clear out that toxic shame. So, dear Dad, and then write that letter. And if it has to be 2 pages, 3 pages, whatever. And I also want you to think about what's interesting, what's the most interesting, and well, I want you to also do a little Google search on Foreboding Joy. As a matter of fact, if I can just
I'm subscribed to her podcast. I just haven't
okay,
tuned in yet.
I want to put this in the chat. See if you can pull this from the chat. It's a very powerful article that was written, and it is specifically about Foreboding Joy. I really want you to spend some time realizing it, because here's what's really amazing is that what would reminded me of is when your dog popped in. You are literally surrounded by unconditional love and joy. You're surrounded by it. So just
That's a small house.
What's that?
But it's a small house.
Yeah. So I want you to imagine that for someone who is foreboding joy and they are literally surrounded by love and joy all day. Okay, of course you're angry and frustrated. You're being triggered all day long, trying to push it off.
Yeah.
My husband tries to love me. Fuck you.
Not
The only one I don't do that with is my son and my dog.
Yeah.
So my poor husband gets all of it.
Yeah.
As soon as it cracked. It cracked. We cracked it. It landed. The penny dropped.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm leaving that shit there. She gets it. She gets it.
Yeah.
All you have to do is feel worthy and deserving of your husband. The rest is a cakewalk.
It'll be nicer.
Boom. Oh, gosh. That was tough for me, Shannon.
You earned your paycheck today.
I did. Woo! Yeah, I love it when a plan comes together. Anybody who remembers that is probably Leo's the only one. Well, Don probably remembers that one. Oh, there you go. A-team. All right. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's get some feedback in here. That was a strong landing. There's those of you that have been listening, right? First of all, let's give Shannon a big hand. I put her through a lot and she pulled through. Well done. Right? I want to send a lot of love to Shannon's husband. Everybody send a lot of love to Shannon's husband. Okay. And who would like to chime in? This is such a good episode. All right. We need somebody unmute and jump in.
All right. Tori, I love you, Shannon. And when Omar was talking about the you're surrounded by joy every day, I also think of what profession you are in, and being a preschool teacher also has that effect. And you want that joy, but you're so afraid to let it in. And I can totally relate to you with the piece of being angry at, the the past and what you believed. Because for me, I was angry at my dad, you know, for his alcoholism. And well, if he didn't have to get sober, why should I? But then, you know, after he died, feeling guilty for actually being, you know, being sober and or doing the work, you know, and feeling that guilt. And I think that I've written many letters to my dad and have cried uncontrollably over them. And it's super uncomfortable, but that's the work, you know, and learning how to forgive, you know, not only yourself, start with yourself, you know, forgiving, and because that self-hatred and the self-loathing is so real. I know it well. So, and do like Dawn was saying, doing like some small things that you're comfortable doing with to just start that process, you know, and write a list down, you know, and you can do it. And I love you. I'm always here for you. So.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Tori. Who's next? Leo.
First, Don, I never met you before, man. That was beautiful. That was just beautiful. And Omar, you were all over this, you know. Shannon, you're surrounded by so much love there at home, you know, and you're surrounded by so much love here in this room. And it floored me. It floored me when Omar said, well, what kind of alcoholic are you? I was thinking, what the hell kind of alcoholic am I not? I'm everything. And you didn't even have an answer for this, man. Perhaps you don't have an issue with substance. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Perhaps.
We got to give ourselves a break. Seriously, everybody on this call has to remind ourselves to give ourselves a break. We're so hard on ourselves, and we don't even realize it. So hard on ourselves. Got to give ourselves a break, you know, and every time I can take a boulder off your shoulder, I will do so. I'll do my best to help you remove that, or at least just let it go. Right? You don't even like alcohol, but now you know. Who's next? Love and joy, baby. Love and joy. Tori, I think we should title this one Love and Joy. Unconditional love and joy. That's powerful. Ooh, we got to throw Foreboding Joy in there, though, too, because I haven't done a title like that yet. I think that's good. Be a good, like, Google search. Come on now. Somebody pop in. Okay, so we got 15 minutes. So either we help somebody or somebody has a comment for Shannon, but we're going to need a little participation.
I'll give some words of advice. You know, I know that at the beginning of the call, Shannon, you mentioned that you liked to be in isolation and stuff because nobody could hurt you, you know? Like, I think of that as being in a turtle shell. And, you know, sometimes you just got to stick your head out and, you know, face life. I know that I'm doing step work and I'm in step 3 right now. And I was just doing the part about self-will and how often I chose to isolate and withdraw myself from life was quite impressive, you know, like I was much like you. I didn't want to accept people's love because I didn't want to be hurt because I've been hurt with so many people around me. And, you know, I have an obnoxious pit bull who like forces his love on me regardless if I want it, you know, and it touches my heart, you know, like, yeah, there's some days I really don't want him, but also at the same time, like I will be 1000% devastated when I no longer have him being obnoxious. Like, and that is what the genuine pure love is. And I have to learn, you know, I have father issues, and I think I'm going to take up some of the recommendations of writing some letters. You know, I write letters to myself. I wrote a goodbye letter to drugs and alcohol. I believe in therapy behind that. And it's daunting, right? Like, I don't want to pick at all of these scabs and stuff, but the downside of not picking at these scabs is that they just sit there, and I keep that pus and that bad shit inside of me. And if I don't deal with it now, at some point in time, my addiction will. And chose to get better. And sometimes it's doing the dirty, hard work that I've been avoiding for a long time. And that's just life. You know, there's hard, brutal moments in life that we have to face, and that's part of living life on life's terms. And I can't avoid that. I can't avoid life, no matter how much I want to. On some days, it's not possible. It's not always pleasant. It's not always ideal. But on the flip side, there are impressively beautiful moments in life, and it's all around us. And when I get too consumed in my isolation and in my world and doing things, all of this for me and all that and the other, I lose sight of everything that I'm working on. Like, I want a better quality of life for myself so that I can give a better quality of life for all the people in my circle. Because I haven't been the best son, I haven't been the best friend, I haven't been the best brother, I haven't been the best employee, I haven't been the best student. And that's because I was restricting myself. I was stuck in my turtle shell because that was what was safe. Not a car could run over me and I'll be safe, you know, like, and you know, that's okay. But what it does is it prevents me from feeling the love that I need to feel when I need it the most. And I mean, I believe that love is one of the greatest medicines in the world, next to laughter and happiness and genuine joy. And when I start experiencing those things, I find a lot of peace, I find a lot of serenity, I find a lot of tranquility. And you know, that's where I appreciate being. And it's not always easy, you know, and I have to first of all get rid of that expectation within myself that life is going to be easy or life is going to be a cakewalk, because that's unrealistic as hell. You know, to go about and be naive and think that trauma is never going to happen to me, and that's also unrealistic. Something is going to happen in my life. It's going to knock me down and question myself. But if I trust myself in these moments, if I learn to trust myself in these moments, when those traumatic moments come along, it's easier to look inside and see where I need to be in the next step that I need to take. And, you know, learning to lean on each other. I would like to also close out that it's impressive how many people come onto this call or in any meeting and say, I'm sorry for taking your time, or I'm sorry for taking up too much time. We all come here to listen, like, it's our service, right? Like, there is no amount of time. You could talk for 75 minutes and I would not close out this call. I would sit here and listen to you vent and say whatever you need to do to heal, because at some point in time, I'm going to need you to be there for me. And that is what a relationship is about. It's about giving and it's about receiving, and or giving and taking. And, you know, there's some of the things that I've learned in recovery and this call. And I admire your vulnerability and willingness to open up these things, even though they kind of catch you off guard. You know, the haymakers come, but the way that we deal with it is how we respond. And, you know, you're not knocked out, you're still in the ring, you're still doing your thing, and you're going to move forward. I have full faith in that. You're a beautiful woman with a beautiful soul, and you're capable of the world. So, you know, work on yourself and find your self-love, and so many things will come for you. I can promise you that, because it's happening for me.
Beautiful. Travis, that was strong. Very, very strong. Anybody else? All right, so I'm going to close with a little story. So not too long ago, my wife took off for a yoga retreat. So I was at home for about 3 days by myself. So usually when my wife leaves, it's just a series of fried chicken, lots of sugar, right? So it's just this whole sort of relapse of fast food and sugar. Okay. And she left. I can't even remember. It might have been a Thursday or a Friday. So whatever. I finally had my window, my moment, right? So I've got all my shit, this junk, and I'm eating it. And it no longer brought me joy. I was expecting to feel joy. I was expecting it, like I'm getting away with something. Why is that here? Anything what I want? Right. And so I remember at some point, I thought, well, maybe I need a different snack. Like just the ludicrous, just addict thinking of like, maybe if I change drugs, then it'll make a difference and maybe it'll be different. Right. So I get in my car and I go back to the store and I pick up some different stuff. And I get in the car and my brain is just exploding. It's just screaming at me. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to soothe yourself? What are you trying to escape from? Right. And I'm like, oh my God, my brain is coaching me, and I'm driving and I'm like, I can't get away from myself. And it's like, I know what I'm doing. I just don't know why. And if I sit here long enough, I'm going to find out. And I don't want to. And it's just like I'm battling with my own internal dialogue, but it's my internal dialogue is so strong that it no longer is that really vicious inner critic. It's just this like, what are you trying to run from? What are you trying to soothe? What are you trying to not feel? And I'm like, it's going through my head and going through my head. And I finally just surrendered to it. And I said, I'm ready to hear it. And this voice came and says, you still think you're not good enough. Stop being so hard on yourself. And I just lost it. I'm driving in the car. I'm sobbing uncontrollably in the car while I'm driving. I'm driving like this so the people driving by don't see me crying. It's just like this overwhelming. I didn't even go back to my house. There was nobody there. But I wouldn't go back to my home, right? I kept driving the car, right? And I was like, I'm just going to keep driving until I stop crying. So ultimately, I came to the realization that I still had not forgiven myself for God knows what number of shit I have done in my life. But I realized that I'm still trying to prove something to myself. You still think you're not good enough? Stop being so hard on yourself. It was probably one of the most powerful moments of my life, and it happened less than a year ago. So Shannon, it never stops. The work continues. Okay. What I do, even as I do it, allows me to continue doing the work. It's when we come to believe that it's not going to work for me, it doesn't apply for me, it's different for me. It's in those moments where we try to separate ourselves from being human and from being just like everybody else. And I, like you, need everybody here on this call. I need community. I need connection. I need to be able to say these things out loud. I need people to see me cry, even though I don't want to, so that they can hold space for me. So that I know that no matter what's going on in my life, that I'm going to be safe, and then I'm going to be heard, and then I'm going to be taken care of. And that is how we're going to close. Big applause for everyone. Shannon, thank you again. Travis, Leo, Don, Tori, Eric, everybody else. I can't see you. Thank you so much. And we'll see you all next Wednesday, same time.
Hey,
Big love.
Omar, I didn't get that article you were going to send.
It's in the chat.
I didn't
Oh.
see it, sir.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on one second. Okay. I sent it to Eric. One moment, please.
There we
You
go.
see it? Okay. Click on it first before I close the window.
Okay. Yes.
Got it. Don, did you need it too?
So, yeah, I just went there.
Got it.
I don't know where actually.
Got it. Did you? All right. I think she got it. All right. Don, did you
I
get
got
the
it,
link?
but I can't seem to get back for some reason. I clicked on the link.
No problem. As long as the link opened, all right, you can read it because we're closing up anyway. So have a
Okay,
wonderful
great.
week. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Love y'all.
Have a good weekend. Okay.